This camera angle fucking sucks and the lighting's horrible, but I don't give a fuck. I want to make this video. The Last of Us Season 2. What a doozy. Oh man, this season has gone through hell and back, from the writing to the fucking pacing to the fans themselves complaining about everything, which I have a strong opinions about that. How this video is going to work is the first portion of the video is just going to be my review on the season itself and all the episodes, and then the next portion will be about the fans and a lot of the stuff they hated about the season and a lot of the stuff that I disagree with what the fans were saying. So yeah, that's how the whole video is going to go. So hopefully you enjoy. If you do enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and also leave your opinions down below. How did you guys think about this season? Like, you know, was it bad? Did it meet your expectations? Was it dog shit? I don't know. Let me know. Anyways, episode 1 and 2. Episode 1 and 2 I'm putting together because these are 2 episodes that actually put down the groundwork for what we were going to expect throughout the entire season, and I thought they did very well on that. I love the dynamic between all the characters in episode 1 between Joel, Ellie, Dina, and Tommy. I think that was all great, and also Jesse as well. I didn't like the scene where Joel went to therapy, which was a little odd, but it kind of made sense, you know, pretty much giving the viewers, oh yeah, don't forget, this happened at the end of season 1, which, you know, I'll give them credit for. I'll give them brownie points for that. So, like, I don't hate it. It just didn't really fit too well in the first episode, but whatever. Episode 2, oh my god, that episode was not only emotional, but fucking action-packed. Like, you saw the budget being thrown at that episode. Like, ooh. The attack on Jackson, that's like one of my most favorite scenes out of the entire series. 10 out of 10 scene, loved it. The scene where Joel died, I was dead. I was ugly crying, actually. It fucking sucked, but, you know, they had to do it. You know, they're trying to follow the game. It was destined to happen anyways. I expected it was going to happen, but not to that extent. The dialogue in that episode was a little bit dragged out, just saying, in terms of Abby's, like, you know, reason to why she wanted revenge. I did find it funny that Joel pretty much just said, shut the fuck up already and just get it over with. I was laughing my ass off when you said that. I was on the same page, like, come on, let's wrap it up. So they get brownie points for that as well. So yeah, both episode 1 and 2, I'd say A tier in terms of their episode. They're not horrible. They're not bad. I enjoyed it for the most part. So very good episodes, not bad. Episodes 3 and 5. Episodes 3 and 5 I'm putting together because these were the most boring episodes. I swear to God, I fell asleep halfway through those episodes. Not that memorable. Like, I remember a little bit of both episodes. I did actually enjoy the beginning of episode 3 because it was a grieving episode in a way, in terms of saying goodbye to Joel, and also grieving the death and the loss that Jackson had in terms of that entire pretty much a battle that they had with the spores and the clickers and all that, and the bloater as well. My god, that scene with the bloater and Tommy burning it to shit, ooh, that was a little bit overdone, but I did enjoy that. The beginning portion of episode 3 wasn't bad. I actually fairly enjoyed it, and then after we were done with Ellie and Joel meeting for the last time at Joel's grave, I thought that was very sweet, very sentimental. But then as we were going to Seattle, that's when the episode really just got so boring and just very dialogue heavy, and I just didn't like that a lot, and I don't even remember what they fucking talked about. This is also the episode where we see the Seraphites, which, honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't think the Seraphites needed to be in this season at all. Like, they were just not interesting. I did not care for them at all. Like, if anything, it just made me be like, oh, so they're just occultist, crazy people that do not give a shit about technology. Okay, that's like any cult in the world then. It just didn't feel or fit right in what they were trying to show in this season. I got nothing really to say about the Seraphites other than, like, they could have just been out of the entire season in general. Episode 5, also very boring. There was nothing memorable about the start of the episode. Most of the episode was just boring. It was shocking to see Jesse come in and to save Ellie and Dina. It was cool. I guess, I don't know. Also, Dina gets shot with an arrow, and they also show more of the Seraphites. Again, very boring. The motives change a lot in this episode, which, you know, that was something. Ellie decides to change her mind and go to the hospital instead of, you know, all of them agreeing, meet at the theater, which, okay. I did like the ending of the episode where Ellie pretty much put all her rage into one of Abby's teammates. I did like that whole scene of them going into the airborne spores beneath the hospital. I think that was very cool, showing us that spores are now airborne, which was honestly shocking and also kind of beautiful in a way. You could tell that the people that were designing each location really put their heart into it, and especially with the hospital scene where Ellie, just went at it with that fucking pipe. Bella Ramsey acted her fucking ass off on that scene, so very good on her. But all in all, yeah, these 2 episodes I'd say are like fucking F tier, maybe D tier. I'd say like in between. Not forget it, scratch it, F tier, yeah. Episode 4. Episode 4 was a good episode. It wasn't my favorite episode. If anything, it was more of like a celebration of life episode, which I fairly enjoyed. I did like the scenes where, Dina and Ellie were running away from WLF, and then they had to fight the WLF and clickers and all the spores and stuff like that, which I thought was very interesting. Dina, throughout this entire season, was actually one of my favorite characters. Not only was she smart and intelligent, but she knew what she was doing throughout the entire season. Then we get to see the scene where Ellie gets bitten by one of the clickers and all that, which was a little anticlimactic. But honestly, if they were trying to get the thing where Dina finds out Ellie is immune, then obviously they have to do it somehow. So I'll accept it. And then I did enjoy the fact where Dina was contemplating whether or not she wanted to kill Ellie to save her from the torture, even though Ellie was immune, but she obviously didn't believe Ellie was immune until Ellie, took her nap and, woke up perfectly fine. And I did like the scene where Dina said that she was pregnant. Everything from when they were being chased by the WLF to when Dina said she was pregnant, I think was all very sweet. Afterwards, towards the end of the episode, a little bit corny, not gonna lie. I feel like that whole scene of them just getting at it could have been left out. The ending also was a bit anticlimactic because they came back to their senses and were like, oh yeah, we're doing this now. They pretty much forgot what they were doing the entire episode, which was whatever. Cool. I didn't hate the episode, but it wasn't my favorite episode. I give a good C tier, so not bad, but not great. Episode 6. Oh, episode 6 is one of my favorite episodes out of the entire series. Not just the season, the series. Pedro Pascal put his fucking heart and soul into that episode, man. He deserves a fucking Oscar, dude. That acting on the scene of the porch with Ellie. Even Bella Ramsey did good on that scene as well. They did amazing. The writing was beautiful. The cinematography was great. The acting was on par. All of it was awesome. I loved it. 10 out of 10 episode. Complete S tier. Straight up there. Couldn't ask for more. Loved it. Episode 7. It was good. I wouldn't say it was my favorite episode, but it was a good episode. I thought it was good in terms of the dynamic between Ellie and Jesse, in terms of how Jesse reacted to finding out Dina is pregnant, which was, obviously going to happen at some point. And also them arguing about, community, love, all that kind of stuff. And honestly, I'm kind of on Jesse's side about what he was saying about community, because he gave up love to stay in Jackson because he cared about the community more than he cared about his love to the person that stayed for a couple of weeks. I don't remember the whole thing, but there was something about someone staying for a couple of weeks. He fell in love with some girl that was with that group, and then they left, and he didn't go with them because he wanted to stay in Jackson. I think that whole thing was very sweet. Honestly, it was very nice. But then Ellie did bring up a good argument that she saw her whole community pretty much just get fucking bludged with a golf club, which, I can't really blame her for that. The anger is there. The motive comes back, surprisingly, at the end of the episode. Jesus Christ. As we continued into the episode, I do think we could have left out that whole island scene of Ellie going to the Seraphite Island. There was no reason for it, to be honest, because again, I don't care about the Seraphites. I understand maybe he was trying to show the bracelet had luck, and there's luck with Ellie now because Dina gave her the bracelet, which if they were showing that, okay, cool, I guess that makes sense, but did you really have to make her go there? I feel like it would make more sense if she was maybe fighting Abby. I don't know. That's just my gripe. Once we got to the aquarium and she accidentally killed the pregnant woman, that whole scene was emotional. I did cry a little bit. If I was in her situation, I'd be probably sobbing my eyes out as well. But it dragged on a little too long. The ending of episode 7 was shocking. I knew Jesse was going to die at some point because I got spoiled by it, but I didn't expect it to happen so fast. Oh my God, my man didn't even get time to put his weapon out. Shit, dude. Abby was not playing. She was on par. But yeah, I'd probably give episode 7 a good B. Not horrible. Not great, but enjoyable nonetheless. All in all, this season I'd give like a good 7 out of 10, really. Season 2, good season, but all in all, not all that great, especially with the writing and the pacing and the acting. Mainly the writing. The writing was 100% not good, especially with episode 3, 4, and 5. It was just boring. I don't know what the writers were doing. The writing could have done a lot better, but hey, I guess they had to do what they had to do. The acting, honestly, the acting was all around very good. It's just the actors were given just not so much good writing, so they kind of had to do the best that they could with what they were given, and they did their best, and I will give them credit for that. So like the acting was fairly okay. There were some scenes with some characters that were kind of like, whatever. Like, didn't really mix well. But, all in all, I didn't hate the acting. I thought it was good. Pacing, I will say, a lot of the episodes were pretty fast, especially the later episodes going from episode 4, 5, and 6. Those episodes were a bit fast, especially because, like, once you got to episode 3, you started to see that, okay, these episodes are starting to get shorter because it went from an hour to 15 minutes to now like 40 minutes or less, which is like, okay, whatever. I get it, maybe trying to get the pacing a little faster, but like it just didn't really fit well because then you kind of miss the whole point of them fighting the clickers and WLF, because at the end of episode 3 we saw a whole army marching down a street. And we thought we were going to see them fighting a whole army. We didn't really get to see that much, to be honest. They kind of let us down on that, which is whatever. Yeah, I will say the action was a bit lackluster after episode 2. The budgeting, my God, you could tell that most of the budget went straight into episode 1 and 2. Like, it is so obvious because obviously you see the attack on Jackson, which again, I loved. But after that, you don't see anything afterwards. There's barely any action after episode 2, except for maybe episode 4 when they're in that subway thing. So, all in all, not a lot to see in terms of fighting clickers or spores or the WLF. So, either way, it is what it is. All in all, the season's good, but not my favorite. Honestly, season 1 is 100% 10 times better than season 2. So, all in all, season wasn't horrible, but could have been better. But now let's talk about the stuff that happened outside the show, especially with the fans. Before I say anything with the fans, I understand like why fans care very much about the source material. I get it full-heartedly. I understand that. I'm the same way. When I'm a Sonic fan. I've been a Sonic fan ever since I was a little kid, and I watched all the 3 Sonic movies. And the first one didn't reach my expectations. Second one did, and the third one expectations were soaring. And I was hoping they would adapt one of many of the Sonic storylines. And they actually did with the second and third movie. The first movie was more like a road trip movie, whatever. So, I have the expectation of like, okay, they're not going to adapt it all the way, which a lot of The Last of Us fans kind of missed. And then there are also a lot of The Last of Us fans that wish there were changes, even though they didn't want it, but then there was also people that were saying they have to adapt the storyline beat for beat. Let me explain. Last of Us Season 2 is an adaptation of Last of Us Part 2. Do take into consideration, The Last of Us Part 2, critically by critics and fans, wasn't really taken very well. A lot of the fans hated the Part 2 and wished that it was different and wished that Joel never died because they thought that that was one of the worst things in gaming history, killing off Joel, even though the writer and director of The Last of Us and the people making The Last of Us all said that Joel's story kind of ended in the first game. So the fans really didn't take that to heart very well. This season was already fighting a tough battle anyways because of all the hate that the second game got. There are different tiers of how I see this. There are the fans that actually give good critiques and actually give good advice and what like the writers and directors should have done throughout the season and stuff like that. So those takes are all good. Then there's the middle portion where the fans are like, okay, I don't like what I'm seeing, but I understand it, and they understand that there needs to be changes. Those two fans are fine. It's the fans that complain and just want to hate that are the annoying ones. Those are the fans that hated The Last of Us Part 2 and also hate The Last of Us Season 2, which doesn't make it any better. And those fans really were complaining about them wanting to change the game and wishing that the game was different, and they were saying, oh, they have the opportunity now to change it, and then they did make the changes, but then they complained about those same changes that were being made. Like, they didn't change the entire story, of course, but they made little bits and changes and some big changes throughout the season that were removed because it was a video game and this is adapted to a show. Those fans just don't understand that this is an adaptation. Don't even get me started with the same fans arguing about Bella Ramsey. I hate the takes of it should have been a different person playing Ellie. Dude, who cares? I think Bella Ramsey was great. And honestly, she's a great actor in most of the stuff that she does. She was great in season 1. She was pretty good in season 2. It's just she wasn't given a lot to do with throughout this season because the writing was so ass. Are you really gonna shit on someone's acting because they were given something so bad? Like, come on. I just hate the take that some fans have about the casting stuff, because it's so dumb. And they complain about every single change, even though a lot of the changes made sense to make the story flow pretty nicely. I honestly, the people that complain about the casting and the small changes and shit like that throughout the season, I don't really see as fans. I just see those people as don't actually have an opinion, that actually didn't even watch the show. They only watched the first 2 to 3 episodes and were like, yeah, this show is complete shit. Because a lot of people stopped watching after episode 3. You're really gonna shit on an entire season without even finishing it? I don't know, man. It's so weird, and I just don't believe the fans that are complaining about all these small changes and the casting and all this shit actually care about the fucking show itself or even the game, because those are the same people that were hating on the second game. So I don't know, man. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. The fans kind of made the show less enjoyable, which really sucks because I actually enjoyed this season. But when it came to just like the reaction online, on TikTok, Twitter, all that, it was just like, okay, now my enjoyment went from a 7 to a 3.5. So that just made everything great for me. But yeah, that's my review on the season and how I feel about people's reaction about the entire season. It sucks, but you know, it's not great. I still like this season. That's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Let me know your opinions in the comments below about how you felt about this season. And also, how about just about the series in general, you know? Because I feel like we're kind of missing out on talking about season 1 a lot. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next time.